Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ethical hacking and defense course. In today's session, let us see the denial of service attack through the IIS web server vulnerability. To complete this lab, we need two virtual machines. One is Kali and another one is Windows Server 2008. No need to configure the static IP if you are connecting this virtual machine to your DSL routers, Omantel or Ooredoo. So let us first discuss the lab setup. We need two virtual machines. So I have the Windows Server. So go to the settings and ensure that the server mode is bridged adapter. Network adapter is bridged. Okay, so just place the network adapter in bridged adapter, and also for the Kali ensure that the network adapter is bridged. So both adapters on bridged adapter, so the IP address would be allocated by the DHCP service in your DSL router. Now let me start the server. The server you can find from the Google Drive share, which I already have shared with you. The password for this is P at SSW0RD40. Password 40. P small letter at SSW0RD40 is the password. So password 40. So when you connect, first you have to check whether this system has any static IP or not. So ncpa.cpl, go to the adapter and check whether you have any IP static, no static IP. Okay, so please ensure that obtain an IP address automatically. So this should be selected. Okay, so let me repeat. ncpa.cpl, just click, right click, properties, TCP IP v4 properties. So ensure that obtain an IP address automatically. And also ensure that the firewall, go to categories, small icons, the firewall is off. The firewall is off. Okay. So once these basic settings are ensured, restart later, check whether there is IP address given by the DHCP service, IP config. So now as far as this system is concerned, this system has IP 192.168.1.37 1.37. So this is distributed by this IP is distributed by the my DSL router, okay, which has its DHCP service. Now let's check the Kali also. Okay. Kali already we have put that in the bridged adapter. IF config. So the IP is 36, 1.36. So the Windows server is 1.37. Okay. So let us ping, check the network connection 192.168.1.37. Let's ping. So it's pinging. So there is a connectivity. Okay, just click here. Controls. And from here also ping 192.168.1.36. From here also we are able to ping, right? So there is a connection, logical connection. So this logical connection you can use for any lab setup. Just put these machines in the bridge adapter. Automatically they will get the IP address from the DSL routers, whether it is Omantel or Orido, and automatically it would get their IP and we can connect each other. Okay, now the now the lab setup is ready. So please students, you can ignore these IP addresses. These IP addresses are applicable only when you are configuring static IP. So we don't need any static IP. Suppose you do not have the internet connection in your home, then I mean you don't have the DSL router, then in that situation you can what you have to do is just go here, settings, network, go for this internal network. Okay, in case if you do not have the Omantel or Orido router, in that situation you can go for internal router. Clear? Internal router, and when you put in internal router, of course you have to configure the static IP. How to configure the static IP? You can find my videos okay in the net that shows how to configure the static IP to the Windows server as well as to the XP and to the Linux machines. From that you can through that you can find how to configure the IP addresses. Okay, so our lab setup is ready. This is the server and this one is the Kali machine, right? So now what we want to do, we want to perform the denial of service attack on the Windows server, okay, from the Kali machine. Of course, when we want to perform any attack, okay, there should be some kind of vulnerability exist in that machine. Unless or until there is some vulnerability, we cannot initiate the attack. That is why you can ask one question: how to know whether a particular machine has the vulnerability or not? There are some tools, security tools, comes under the category of comes under the category called vulnerability scanners. Vulnerability scanners like Nessus, 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 OpenWAS. Okay, so Nessus actually we have to pay money. It's a vendor based. We have to pay money. That is why it is difficult for the students community. Okay, to practice. Uh, Otherwise, you can go for some free and open source vulnerability scanners like OpenWAS. And when you have these vulnerability scanners in the machines such as Kali, so this machine is the, let's say, the attacker machine or the penetration tester machine. From that you can scan the target system through the vulnerability scanners, and the vulnerability scanners would give the report. That report would show all the vulnerabilities in the target machine. So as a student as well as for your career as a penetration tester, so you should be aware of the vulnerability scanners, very important. So when you want to find the vulnerabilities in the target machine, you need a vulnerability scanner. Is it clear to you? So you can Google and find what are the free and open source vulnerability scanners. You can configure them. You can scan the target machines. You can install them in the Kali, okay, and scan them. Scan the target machine such as this Windows Server or XP, and you can learn the vulnerability scanning. Very important skill set for the career in the field of penetration testing. Okay, now we know that there is a vulnerability exist in the Windows Server. In the Windows Server, there is a web server available called IIS. It is an inbuilt web server. Web server is used to run web applications. For example, you have some HTML application website. You want to make that web application available across the network, then you should deploy that inside some web server. Okay, so one such web server that is inbuilt into the Windows is IIS. Okay, now let me show you how to configure this IIS. So you can find here roles, server manager. Just click the server manager, go to roles. In the roles, you click add roles, then click next, then click select web server IIS. Suppose you want to make your Windows server as a DNS server or DHCP server, or you want to configure the certificate authority. So all these things are available here. Okay, so one such role is called IIS web server. Okay, select that. Next, next, then come scroll down, select FTP. But for this particular lab session, we do not need FTP. But however, there is one lab that is brute force attack. Okay, so if you want to learn that, if you want to practice, then you need a FTP service. So please, FTP service, as far as the Windows server is concerned, it is available inside the IIS. So you can select FTP, file transfer protocol. So you can transfer the files from client to the server machines through this service, FTP. Then install. So in this lab, you are going to see the denial of service attack. So we are going to make the service in the Windows server not available. We will make the server shut down. Okay, so the IIS is configured. So basically how it is possible to perform the denial of service attack against the Windows server is through a vulnerability that exists in the IIS web server. So Windows Server as such, it doesn't have, vulnerability as far as this lab session is concerned. But however, there is a vulnerability with IIS web server. Through that vulnerability, we attack the operating system, Windows Server operating system, and make the operating system shut down. So this is the denial of service attack. Okay, so let us exploit this vulnerability now using Kali machine. Okay, now what we do is clear. Okay, now just application, open the browser. Okay, now HTTP, because we have configured the IIS web server in the Windows Server operating system. It runs a default web application. Okay, so we can access that like this: http 192.168.1.37, right? 37 is the IP of the Windows server. Just when you call send a request, automatically this welcome page okay, is opened in the Kali machine. Actually, it is coming from the web web server, which has a default web page. Okay, so you can create your own website, you can deploy any web application, and you can call from any machines from the network. But now just we call the default one. Okay, so basically it is a png file, image file, welcome.png. So when you type this request like this, http colon slash slash 192.168.1.37, automatically welcome.png is opened. Okay, from the server machine. Now once this is done, okay, we confirm that the web server is working fine. Now let's initiate the attack. Okay, so what you do is first uh, we have to confirm the vulnerability. Okay, so just copy this command telnet. Okay, is a service which is used to connect to the remote machine. Okay, so but all the message should be of plain text. Okay, so but be careful, don't forget to change the IP address. The IP address of the Windows server is whatever you get from the DHCP service in your machine. Okay, so as far as my Windows server is concerned, it is 1.37. And the telnet service, basically the port number is not 80, but we give port number 80 in order to find the vulnerability of the target machine. So we get output like this. Don't close this, don't press Ctrl C, just leave just like that. So trying to connect with 192.168.1.37, connected to 1.37, escape character is this. So you get a message like this. So what you do, just copy this, just copy this, and paste it on this. Just let me try again, and let me copy this. So we get output like this. Just a minute, any error? Okay, I made a mistake. So uh, first copy this, okay, and let me clear this. So first telnet, paste this, and change the IP. Okay. So you get like this. Don't copy this one because we are getting that as the output. So copy this, copy this. I wrongly copied this before. Just paste it here and press enter. So you can see there is an error coming displayed here. Requested range not satisfiable. What it indicates, what we did is we sent a header file with a range of large number, large header sized data we have injected. We send HTTP request to this server machine. Okay, here also I made a mistake again, student, because it should be 1.37. Let me repeat once again. I'm sorry. Then here this should be 37, correct? So please copy this and paste it here. Okay, so it is 37. Okay, target position. So now you are getting 416 error. That means uh, the Kali machine has sent a get request to the Windows server, IAS web server, with a header range of 0 to this big number. So it has sent a reply that the request range is not satisfiable. So it says that this big range the server cannot support. If the header file size is very large, then it cannot support that service. Okay, requested range not satisfiable. So this is the vulnerability actually. Now we found the vulnerability that this server cannot accept the header with huge data. Understand? So once that vulnerability is confirmed, so you should be knowing what is the vulnerability. So this is how we find the vulnerability. So here the vulnerability is exposed by the web server to the client machine. Okay, now what we do, we are going to initiate the attack. So what we do is this. Now you see the Windows server is running perfectly. Okay, it's working. Now what we do, we copy this command. Okay, just copy and paste it on the notepad, and if any special characters were attached, remove it. Okay, so I, for example, what I'm trying to say is this: when I copy, you know, here you can see some special characters attached, right? So just I am telling you to remove this. Okay, copy. So server is here, the Kali is here. So I paste this one. Okay. Again, I made a mistake. What is a mistake? Could you tell me? The mistake is the IP address is wrong. It should be 37. It is good because when you do the lab, you will not make the same mistake. No. Copy. Uh, page selection. Okay, so you get a message like this. Okay, still the system is running perfectly. And then copy the second command, this command. Before that, please again, what you do is change the IP address. And here you see we are sending a request, HTTP request to the web server with a huge header data. Understand? In order to crash the server. So, okay, you see the problem is here the special character is getting attached. Now I remove that. Okay, now we are ready. Now the server, you just see the server, it's running perfectly. Now this is the Kali machine. Now we are executing the second command. Okay, the second command, the header file is attached with huge data size and the IP address of the server 37, and we are calling the web welcome.png file which is deployed in that web server. So enter. Now you see the server is shut down. The Windows server is shut down. So this is called denial of service attack. So the denial of service attack, students, please understand. To this attack is done through the IAS web server. There is a vulnerability in the IAS web server. Through that vulnerability, we confirm that vulnerability. How? Through this, we confirm the vulnerability. The vulnerability is exposed by the response to the client machine from the web server. Here it is exposed the vulnerability. Then we use these two commands in order to initiate the attack. Okay, so as a penetration tester, you should know that there is a vulnerability in the target machine, and not in the OS, but with some application program like IAS web server. So even through that vulnerability, we can bring down the operating system. You get the point? So how to overcome this? We have to apply the patch. We have to update the IAS web service, and we have to update and we have to remove the bug through the patch. You understand? The patch would be released by the Microsoft. We have to update. So regularly we have to update, keep updating the application. And also unnecessarily, for example, if there is no necessity for you to have a web server in your machine, then don't configure that, because it would increase the attack vector. You understand? If you have unnecessary web application or services configured in the operating system, that would increase the attack vector, and if there is a vulnerability, that could be utilized by the attacker to initiate the attack. So with this, I conclude this lab session. Please, it would be very helpful for you when you write the penetration testing report. That is why I explained in detail. Students, you should be knowing what is a vulnerability, what is a vulnerability scanner. Okay, so how to find the vulnerability? We have to find the vulnerability. Only then we can do the exploit. We can do the attack. So here we do the vulnerability, confirm the vulnerability, and here we do the exploitation. So maybe if you have a very good vulnerability scanner, if you do, it would report all the vulnerabilities in the target machine. Is it clear to you, students? Thank you very much. I hope you complete this lab and send me a report.